Always live on the free Audacy app.
KNX, KNX FM and HD, Los Angeles.
This is Southern California's news.
I'm Chris Seaton's. Coming up, it's our breaking news. Just got word President Trump says the United States military has struck 3 sites in Iran. As the city of L.A. grapples with a big budget deficit, neighborhood groups worried about budget cuts. And the vice president, some angry words yesterday for the leadership of L.A. and California.
Only on KNX News 97.1 FM.
It's 5 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Peter King, and we have breaking news from the White House. President Trump has said that he would give it as long as 2 weeks consideration, but in a social media post moments ago, he says the U.S. has just completed what he calls a successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Trump says a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home, he says. All of this comes after 2 B-2 bombers were sent to Guam as a possible staging area. The planes can carry 2 so-called bunker buster bombs each. Here's CBS's Charlie D'Agata.
The Israelis simply do not have that kind of firepower or the aircraft to conduct a precision strike or strikes that would be needed. And the B-2 bomber can carry not 1, but 2 of those weapons. President Trump on Wednesday said, "We have the capability to do it, but that doesn't mean I am going to do it."
As the fighting enters its second week, hundreds of lives have been lost. CBS's Deborah Patta is in Tel Aviv.
At least 24 Israelis have been killed. The death toll in Iran is well over 600, with injuries in the thousands. I was hurled against the wall and knocked unconscious, said Tehran resident Nasreen. When I woke up, I was covered in blood.
And repeating, President Trump has said that a full payload of bombs was dropped on 3 Iranian nuclear sites by U.S. planes. Weather watchers are seeing orange and red, the weather map colors indicating extreme heat, with much of the country sweltering or about to be. CBS News meteorologist Andrew Kozak.
We have heat alerts extending from basically the Canadian border all the way down to the Gulf, and then across the East Coast we have areas under extreme heat watches and extreme heat warnings. You add everything up together and we're talking 200 million people under some sort of alert this weekend and well into the middle of next week for that heat.
A day after an appeals court rejected Louisiana's law requiring public school classrooms to display the 10 Commandments, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has just signed a law requiring his state schools to display them. At least 8 people have been killed in a southern Brazil hot air balloon accident. 13 people survived. We all know the Beach Boys lived for this.
Everybody's gone surfing USA.
10 days after the death of Beach Boys co-founder Brian Wilson, this is International Surfing Day, and there's been a big memorial paddle at Huntington Beach, California. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. It's happened. Minutes ago, President Trump posting on his social media that the U.S. has, quote, completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. The president going on to say that all planes are now inside of Iranian airspace, outside of Iranian airspace, I should say. The president posting that a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes now safely on their way home. And ending with this, now is the time for peace. This is earlier we learned that U.S. B-2 bombers had been activated. ABC foreign correspondent Marcus Moore is in Tel Aviv.
Those bombers, the only U.S. aircraft capable of dropping the 30,000-pound explosive that could damage or destroy Iran's Fordow nuclear facility, buried deep underground in a mountain.
President Trump returning to Washington today from his golf club in New Jersey for a Situation Room meeting with his national security team. Here comes the heat. In Philadelphia, an attendee at an outdoor arts festival.
Trying to stay hydrated. We've had several waters on the way down and stopped and had a little bit of refreshment up in the last block or so. But we're good. We're managing.
ABC meteorologist Danny Beckstrom.
150 million Americans under some sort of heat-related alert. That's from Denver, Colorado, up through Green Bay, Wisconsin, down through New Orleans, and even over into portions of Portland, Maine, going to be under those heat-related advisories.
A hot air balloon carrying 22 people crashing in southeastern coastal Brazil. This morning, the state governor there said reports of 8 people killed, at least 2 survivors rescued. Columbia University grad student activist Mahmoud Halil released from an ICE detention center in Louisiana, now in New Jersey. Halil today in Newark.
Thank you so much for everything. No. Not only for today. It's just for every day. Like just your words of support, your messages have kept me going.
You're listening to ABC News. Whitney Decker, the mother of Paitlin, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, speaking at a memorial service in Wenatchee, Washington, Friday evening.
I truly hope that the legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever. They were incredible.
They were her first public comments since her daughters were found dead. The girls were reported missing after being kidnapped by their father, Travis Decker. The sisters were found dead at a campground a few days later. Travis Decker is still on the loose. A fast-moving wildfire in southwest Utah has destroyed a dozen structures. That's why Sergeant Lucas Alfred from the Washington County Sheriff's Office told ABC affiliate KTVX evacuations are absolutely necessary in Pine Valley, urging people to understand why leaving everything behind is necessary.
We're going to try and protect structures. We're going to try and protect homes. But when lives are on the line as well, that's going to be the priority. So when people don't follow recommended evacuations and things, that can actually complicate matters and actually cause more loss of property.
The Forsyth fire has already burned a little over 2 square miles, despite 150 people battling that blaze, and the fire remains uncontained. A Colorado grand jury has indicted Barry Morphew for first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Suzanne. Investigators say that they found her remains in a 2023 shallow grave. She was last seen alive on Mother's Day 2020 in Colorado. Barry Morphew was initially charged in her death in 2021, but charges were dropped. Dave Packer, ABC News.
This show is supported by Kickoff. Kickoff gives you access to a credit line that's just for credit building, not everyday spending.